Hello my fellow riders, today we're going to be talking about 5 tips from me for new riders. So thank you for joining me for this video. Today we're going to be talking about 5 different tips from me personally to new riders, just for a little bit of help on obviously riding for the first time. So my first point would be, don't ride with other people. Now, and this is for don't ride with your friends. If you want to ride with your dad who's behind you, or a friend or something like that, on a bigger CC bike that has been riding for a long time, I would suggest you do that. But if it's a case of going out and riding just with a mate who's just passed it the very first time, I would suggest you probably don't. The reason why is you want to be fully focused on the road. You want to be seeing all the different hazards and you want to be making sure that you are comfortable on your bike. What happens when you've got somebody else riding with you is, number one, you become rather nervous. You're always thinking about what they think about your riding. You're always wanting to race them and ride at the same speed as them, even if you don't feel comfortable doing so. So I would suggest ride on your own, get comfortable with your bike, go for somewhere out in the sticks, somewhere that there's no other traffic, and just go out, have a ride, have a little bit of fun, get rid of those first rider nerves, make sure you understand your bike, and then you can go out and ride with other people, enjoy it, and make riding a passion instead of going out with someone else straight away, potentially having an accident, potentially them call you silly and all this sort of stuff. If you ride on your own, you can make your rules, you can do it at your pace. My second point is do a pre-ride inspection. Now what this means is check your chain tension. All chains have to be between 20 and 30 mils worth of movement up and down. If your chain is too tight, potentially it can snap. Obviously then you can get your chain locked in the back wheel, it can just fall off and you can't go anywhere, or it can smash your casing, which happens quite a lot when a chain snaps. So when your chain is too loose, what it can potentially do is come off of the front or the rear sprocket, get caught in the back wheel, and obviously it's going to lock up that big back wheel and chuck you off. The other point is check your oil. If there's too much oil in your engine, can usually be the same as, well, not the same, it can usually cause enough damage or the same amount of damage as not having enough oil in your engine. So too much can blow your pistons, blow your seals and all that sort of stuff. Not enough will just dry out your bearings and they will seize. So either way, you've got to make sure that your oil is in the correct position. Quite a lot of people that come in here for servicing do not check their tyres at all. And we sometimes have people come in and their tyres will be at 1 or 2 PSI. Now the problem with this is that if you go riding around a corner, number one, your tyre is going to be flowing on your wheel and not giving you correct grip. And the other thing is, if you go tightly around a corner with 1 or 2 PSI, there is a good chance that your tyre is going to come off the rim. If your tyre comes off the rim and you're a new rider, you are going to come off. So make sure that you keep your tyre pressures to where they are supposed to be. My third point, wear protective clothing. Now the reason this is important, I don't know if you've been around and you see somebody bombing along on a 600cc motorbike wearing something similar to what I am and a helmet. If you go around like this and you fall off of your bike, you are going to cause damage to yourself that is going to last you the rest of your life. Regardless of whether it's a fall off, you break your elbow, fall off, you take all the skin off your arm, all of that sort of stuff, you will have to deal with this for the rest of your life. That is for the small injuries. Bigger injuries, we're not going to go into that because protective clothing will help you a bit with the bigger injuries, but not like a massive amount. So you've got to try and avoid getting into big accidents. But if you fall off and scrape along the floor, then you are going to have an injury that's going to last you the rest of your life. Do you want to have that? Probably not. and is it worth the 5 minutes or the not looking cool? You're not going to look cool with scars and stuff all down your arms, are you? My next point is service your bike regularly. Quite a lot of the reasons that most of these motorbikes go wrong is because people do not stick to their service intervals. First service interval on majority of these bikes is 300 miles. Now this is because when the piston goes up and down the bore in an engine, it breaks off little tiny pieces of metal that goes down into the oil. When you use it for a long period of time, that oil will go back up to the top of the engine and go through again, which means that later on your longevity of your engine will be a lot less. Now I know somebody who has had 4 bikes off of us. Each one has done 75,000 kilometers, and the reason for this is because he changes his oil every month. The other thing that we do on a service is we will tighten up your bolts, check tyre pressures, check chain tension, change any filters that need changing, check your bulbs, indicators, lights, everything. We go through every part of your bike. And so if you want to stay safe on your bike, then this is the best course of action. Now the first one is about 300 kilometers or 300 miles, sorry. And then after that, it increases to 2,000, 4,000, 6,000. When you get to the end of the 2 years process, you should be looking at, I would suggest servicing it every month if you're using it on a daily basis. So my 5th and final tip is ride defensively. You've got to go out and think that everybody is out there trying to hurt you. Not because they're trying to hurt you, because they don't consider you when they're making their decisions on driving. So if someone's coming up to a junction, quite often they won't check in their mirrors. If you're behind them, slam on your brakes. Their brakes are better than your brakes. So you've got to take into consideration the stopping distance between you and the car in front. Another thing happens quite often is people trying to turn. Sometimes they indicate the wrong way. Say they indicate left and turn right, but that's right and left, yeah, right, left. Sometimes they will over brake. Now this is really annoying. What people will do is every time there's a little turn in the road, somebody will put on their brakes to slow down a tiny bit to get around that curve. Now you've got to be able to foresee that before it happens. Other things are when people are turning into the junction you're in, sometimes they will cut the corners. They won't use their indicators. So what I would suggest you do is when you're riding, look people in the face. Take into consideration their indicators, but look them in the face, and then you should be able to work out by which way they're looking, what way they are going to turn. So with a motorbike, you have got to be very vigilant all the time. And I usually ride looking about 50 to 100 feet in front of me whenever I ride, looking at the corners, looking in junctions and stuff like that. So if I look in a junction and see there's a car 50 feet up the road and I am 50 feet away from that junction, you know that you are going to be at that junction at the same time. In theory, if you're going down a main road and they're cutting on, you have the right of way, but people don't always do what's right. So make sure that you keep your eyes open and ride safe. So I hope this video has helped you out a little bit and given you some helpful tips in riding when you are a brand new rider. So hit the thumbs up, thumbs down, comment below if you've got anything to say, subscribe to my channel, go onto my website and join the forum if you've got any questions. But as always, ride safe.